Tom Thumb Day is celebrated on January 4th to commemorate the legacy of Charles Sherwood Stratton, the greatest actor of his time, born on January 4th of 1838 in the silent streets of Bridgeport, Connecticut. Charles went on to achieve global acclaim under the patronage of his mentor and adoptee, circus pioneer P.T. Barnum. Stratton, a dwarf, evaded the stigma that comes with a disability and took his talent all the way to the courtyard of Queen Victoria. On his birth anniversary, we come together to acknowledge his lasting legacy in the entertainment industry and the many paths he paved for the little people of his time.
Welcome back to the vlog. Jason is back here at the Mountain Grove Cemetery and Mausoleum back in Bridgeport, Connecticut to talk about Charles Sherwood Stratton, or as you may know him, General Tom Thumb.
Charles Sherwood Stratton was born on January 4th of 1838 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Although he had a normal appearance at the time of his birth, he stopped showing signs of physical development after 6 months due to a growth hormone deficiency. He remained 25 inches tall until the age of 9 when he started growing very slowly again, and his final height measured at 3 foot 4 inches. By late 1842, at almost 5 years old, Stratton had grown only 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters, from when he was 6 months old and had not gained any weight. Apart from this, he was a completely normal, healthy child with several siblings who were of average size. His body was proportionate and functional. At the age of 4, circus maestro P.T. Barnum, a distant relative of Stratton's, recognized his talent and decided to mentor him. He informally adopted the boy and taught him how to sing, dance, mime, and impersonate.
I was obsessed with the biggest things, the greatest shows, but also the smallest things.
The smallest, also a wonder unto itself.
That includes Barnum's most famous performer, Tom Thumb, a little person who Barnum found at age 5 and started exhibiting at 6. Thumb's staged wedding in 1863 was a sensation that helped distract the nation from the Civil War.
So this outfit is 175 years old.
This is, yes, at the math, it goes back probably to about 1850. It's the Napoleon costume that Tom actually wore at his performances.
When you say performances, what is that? What do you mean?
He would sing, he would dance, he would joke. He actually had a cigar. He would even drink wine.
A 6-year-old.
It sounds absurd, but child stars have been around for a very long time.
Soon enough, Barnum's dedicated tutelage came to fruition as Stratton became one of the main acts of his New York City museum. As the duo started their American tour, Barnum gave Stratton a new stage name, Tom Thumb, based on a character of English folklore.
Barnum's American Museum was where P.T. Barnum became globally famous. A grand, multi-story building in Lower Manhattan, the museum drew millions of visitors for 25 cents admission. Visitors to the American Museum could take in fine art, stereographs of foreign cities, taxidermy and live animals, human curiosities, a rooftop garden, and live theater. It was also America's first large-scale public aquarium with water pumped from the East River to house a whale in the basement. After the first American Museum was destroyed by fire in 1865, Barnum built a second uptown within the year. This too burned, but in the years under Barnum's management, the American Museum drew more foot traffic than Disneyland in a similar time. That's today's Barnum's Fun Fact, and if you didn't know, now you do.
Tom Thumb was published in 1621, and his adventures include being swallowed by a cow, tangling with giants, and becoming a favorite of King Arthur. The earliest allusions to Tom occur in various 16th century works, such as Reginald Scott's Discovery of Witchcraft from 1584, where Tom is cited as one of the supernatural folk employed by servant maids to frighten children. Tattershall in Lincolnshire, England, reputably has the home and grave of Tom Thumb. Aside from his own tales, Tom figures in Henry Fielding's 1730 play Tom Thumb, a companion piece to his author's farce. It was expanded into a single 1731 piece titled The Tragedy of Tragedies, or The History of Tom Thumb the Great. In the mid-18th century, books began to be published specifically for children, some with their authorship attributed to Tommy Thumb, and by the mid-19th century, Tom was a fixture of the nursery library. The tale took on moral overtones, and some writers, such as Charlotte Mary Young, cleansed questionable passages. Dinah Mullock, however, refrained from scrubbing the tale of its vulgarities. Tom Thumb's story has been adapted into several films. P.T. Barnum billed the living Tom Thumb as an 11-year-old dwarf from England when Stratton was just 5 years old. On the stage, Stratton impersonated characters such as Napoleon and Cupid. Barnum took young Stratton on a tour of Europe, making him an international celebrity. Stratton was invited and appeared twice before Queen Victoria at Buckingham Palace. He also met the 3-year-old future King Edward VII, at that time the Prince of Wales. His performance for Queen Victoria and the subsequent tour earned him star status in London. In 1845, he triumphed at the Théâtre du Vaudeville in France in the play Le Petit Posset of de Menor in Clairville. Sorry, I'm not French. The tour was a huge success, with crowds mobbing him wherever he went. After his 3-year tour in Europe, Stratton began his rise to stardom in the United States. Stratton's fame grew at an astounding rate, and his popularity and celebrity surpassed that of any actor within his lifetime. Stratton's first performance in New York marked a turning point in the history of freak show entertainment. Before Stratton's debut, the presentation of human curiosities for entertainment was deemed dishonorable and seen as an unpleasing carnival attraction. However, after viewers were introduced to Stratton and performances, he was able to change the perception people held toward freak shows. Stratton's lively and entertaining performances made these type of carnival shows one of the most favored forms of theatrical entertainment in the United States. From the age of 7, Stratton performed in grand full-length fairy tale melodramas under the management of P.T. Barnum. A few of the melodramas that Stratton performed were Hop o' My Thumb and 7 League Boots. In these melodramas, Stratton was assigned the title role, which he played on multiple occasions. While Barnum sought to capitalize on Stratton's small stature, he also aimed to highlight and showcase his many true gifts as a performer. For example, Stratton was noted to be clever in his acts. In addition, he was a talented actor, singer, dancer, and comedian. As a result, certain dramatic critics did not compare his skills to those of the freak show community, of which he was a member, but preferred to judge him on his merits as a professional entertainer. As the years passed, Stratton added many titles to his name, the greatest actor of his time being one of them. From his very first performance in New York, he breathed fresh air into the freak show entertainment world and rehabilitated the presentation of human curiosities. His marriage in 1863 to Lavinia Warren, also a little person, became front-page news. The wedding took place at Grace Episcopal Church, and the wedding reception was held at the New York City's Metropolitan Hotel. The couple stood atop a grand piano at the reception to greet some 10,000 guests. The best man at the wedding was George Washington Marrison, Commodore Nutt, another dwarf performer in Barnum's employ. The maid of honor was Minnie Warren, Lavinia's sister. Following the wedding, the couple was received by President Lincoln at the White House. Stratton and his wife toured together in Europe as well as British India, in particular the area that would later become Bangladesh. Under Barnum's management, Stratton became a wealthy man. He owned a house in a fashionable part of New York and a steam yacht, and he had a wardrobe of fine clothes. He also owned a specially adapted home on one of Connecticut's Thimble Islands. When Barnum got into financial difficulty, Stratton bailed him out. Later, they became business partners. Stratton made his final appearance in England in 1878. In January of 1883, Stratton was staying at the John F. Anstell's Newhall House in Milwaukee when a fire broke out, which Milwaukee historian John Gerda would call one of the worst hotel fires in American history. More than 71 people died, but Tom and Lavinia were saved by their manager, Sylvester Bleecker. 6 months after surviving the Newhall House fire, Stratton died unexpectedly of a stroke. He was 45 years young. Over 20,000 people attended the funeral. P.T. Barnum purchased a life-size statue of Tom Thumb and placed it as a gravestone at Mountain Grove Cemetery in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And that's the place you saw right in the beginning of this video. When she died more than 35 years later, Lavinia Warren was interred next to him with a simple gravestone that read, his wife. In 1959, vandals smashed the statue of Tom Thumb. It was restored by the Barnum Festival Society and Mountain Grove Cemetery Association with funds raised by public subscription. The cause of Stratton's extreme shortness, then unknown, is referred to today as pituitary dwarfism. X-rays were not discovered until 1895, 12 years after Stratton's death, and the medical techniques of the day were unable to ascertain the pathology, if any, underlying his diminutive size at the time. America's love for carnival shows can be partially credited to the live performance of General Tom Thumb and his decades-long dedication to the craft. Barnum didn't just capitalize on Stratton's small stature, but he also highlighted his true artistry. Stratton's ability to sing and act, coupled with his clever comedic timing, made him a true professional entertainer, one of the greatest to ever exist. It can be argued that Tom opened the door for other little people performers through the years, and it can be argued the level of exploitation that was let in when the door was opened. I guess we can say the same for any entertainer. There can be debate about whether entertainers are exploited for a variety of attributes or not exploited at all. I'll let you answer that question individually, as this video is to celebrate the life of Tom Thumb, not to debate the actions of Barnum or any showman which we can label the movie studios or music studios of today. What is today? Tom Thumb Day. Stratton dedicated his life to the entertainment industry and became a role model for thousands of little people of his time. In many ways, he celebrated his gift, inspiring others to look beyond the things that make us different from others. I hope we can all celebrate our own difference.